Greetings. This is part 2 of an informal reading of the book Dreaming While Awake, Techniques for 24-Hour Lucid Dreaming. And we're going to pick back up with chapter 2, Lucidity and Dream Work. The Tao that can be expressed is not the eternal Tao. The name that can be named is not the eternal name. Non-existence I call the beginning of heaven and earth. Existence I call the mother of individual beings. Therefore, does the direction towards non-existence lead to the sight of the miraculous essence. In the last chapter, I mentioned that 24-hour lucid dreaming is the ability to continuously notice the tendencies that precede events, to be aware of the dreaming background that gives rise to everyday reality. I will use dreaming with an uppercase D to mean using our sentient abilities to recognize the arising of experience before it has even been able to formulate itself. In contrast, dreaming with a lowercase d refers to fantasies or dreams you have at night. For example, let us say that you are a bit paranoid, that you dream and fantasize that people do not like you. These dreams and fantasies are dreaming. If you were more lucid, however, and able to do 24-hour lucid dreaming, you would notice how incredibly sensitive, in fact, even exquisitely sensitive, you are to certain feelings, as if you were a flower noticing the slightest variations in the wind. This sensitivity is a tendency that precedes your suspicions that others do not like you. The more lucid you are, the more sensitive you become, and thus the less involved you get in the more dualistic experiences of me and them. There is just awareness of sensitivity. Achieving the depths of experiences characteristic of 24-hour lucid dreaming has been a spiritual goal of many peoples for thousands of years. The Taoists referred to dreams, fantasies, and everyday reality as the Tao that can be expressed, and warned that it is not the eternal Tao. For at least 3,000 years, Taoists have spoken of sages who knew that the Tao that cannot be spoken, who knew the Tao that cannot be spoken. We might say that they were speaking about 24-hour lucid dreaming and about the dreaming to which Aboriginal Australians have referred. The ancient Chinese sage Chuang Tzu called the Tao the, quote, primal force. In his words, there must be some primal force, but we cannot discover any proof. I believe it acts, but I cannot see it. I can feel it, but it has no form. Patanjali, the legendary yoga master of 4th century India, recommended witnessing the process of dreaming or dreamless sleep. We might say that he recommended becoming lucid about the sentient experience that precedes ordinary dreams. Shortly thereafter, Tibetan Buddhists devised a method they called dream yoga, which had the goal of being lucid both day and night. In sleeping, dreaming, and dying, the Dalai Lama defines dream yoga in Tibetan traditions as a practice similar to what is called in the West lucid dreaming. In Western tradition, lucid dreaming refers to awakening within dreams that are happening while we sleep. In contrast, dream yoga has a larger goal that includes 24-hour lucid dreaming. That is, being aware of the sentient states that precede all kinds of thinking and perceiving. Tibetan Buddhist monks refer to this larger goal as the Great Awakening. As we saw in the last chapter, present day and ancient indigenous traditions see the everyday world as a kind of flower arising from the dreaming earth. Historically, a person did not need a special calling to notice that reality arises from the dreaming earth. This practice belonged to everyone's development and belief system. For example, according to the Nai Musina people in South America, ordinary reality began as a dream-like fragment of their great deity. Likewise, early Indian philosophers thought the world came from the dreaming power of the great god Brahma. The Native American Hopi called their creator Ani Himu, a powerful something who created all manifestations. Note that this powerful something has no direct verbal counterpart in everyday life. It is a power of the universe that creates the entire real world. You may recall the picture at the end of chapter 1, which shows how consensus reality grew out of dreamland and dreaming. It appears again below. Level 3 consensus reality, or CR, is at the top. Dreamland consists of nighttime dreams and fantasies you might suddenly have during the day. Dreaming is the root of all things. It is Chuang Tzu's primal force, or the Tao that cannot be said. The Australian dreaming, the Brahma, the powerful something, and the Native American deities that personify the dreaming. In the Hopi world, everyday reality is already manifest. Thus, real objects are part of the past. In other words, the Hopi concept of past is the present for everyone else because, according to Hopi thinking, the present everyday reality is the result of experience that has already unfolded. The Hopi do not refer to the past, present, or future, but instead speak about the present and past in terms of that which is manifest. The future is that which is beginning to manifest. The future is a dreaming that has not yet unfolded. Sentient, non-consensual experience is a tendency that has not yet manifested in terms of everyday conceptions. With 24-hour lucid dreaming, you notice the dreaming, notice flickering signals such as sudden feelings you can't explain. This experience is further from everyday awareness, and for most of us living in mainstream cultures, requires retraining awareness to be able to perceive these signals. As we know from the last chapter, according to the Australian Aboriginal people, Nothing can exist in everyday reality that does not exist in the dreaming first. Aboriginal cultures encourage tribespeople to notice the dreaming in the present because being in touch with the dreaming assured a safe future. Music is very close to the dreaming. In some tribes, the first thing a person does upon waking is to wander alone into the bush or along the seashore and create a song based on the dreams of the previous night. They believe the animals and birds hear the dream being sung and recognize that the singer is in touch with the inner world, and therefore they assist him or her in daily hunting and gathering. Modern spiritual teachers from India, such as Sri Ramana Maharishi, stress the importance of living close to the dreaming, to the state he called the natural life, the oneness that precedes duality. The Indian parallel to 24-hour lucid dreaming is the Sahaja Samadhi of Hinduism. The Encyclopedia of Indian Philosophy and Religion defines the Sanskrit term samadhi as a state of consciousness beyond waking, dreaming, and deep sleep, and sahaja as the natural state. Another Indian spiritual teacher whose teachings involved dreaming was Sri Aurobindo. The Indian nationalist and mystic philosopher who underwent a spiritual transformation while imprisoned for suspected terrorist acts in 1908. He emerged as a great teacher by suggesting various methods for becoming lucid in the divine natural state that gives rise to life. Lucid dreaming. Until now, Western approaches to lucid dreaming have focused on becoming lucid in dreams that occur during the night rather than on the dreaming itself. To this end, modern spiritual teachers such as Rudolf Steiner have studied various aspects of lucid dreaming. In the 1970s, Alan Worsley in Britain and Stephen LaBerge in California both learned to dream lucidly at night and created scientific breakthroughs in the study of dreams. They discovered how rapid eye movement, or REMs, indicated that dreaming was occurring. Rapid eye movements mirror the motions of the dreamer's eyes. If you look up in a dream, the eyebrows on your face move upward while you slumber. REMs can be traced on EEGs or electroencephalograms. With training, for the first time in the history of science, people could report from the world of dreams through their REMs while still dreaming. Thus, the Western concept of lucid dreaming became associated with awakening in a dream. 24-hour lucid dreaming. In recent times, the Dalai Lama pointed out that Tibetan yogis develop lucidity first in meditation, then in their dreams, and finally in deep meditative states during everyday reality. The Dalai Lama called attaining such lucidity the Great Realization. According to the Dalai Lama, the Great Realization is a pristine consciousness which can manifest in waking consciousness without the practitioner being actually absorbed in meditation. It is sometimes said to occur between thoughts. It is the basic primordial nature of consciousness itself. As such, it is the basis for all mental content. This is yet another perennial description of what I am calling 24-hour lucid dreaming. Your experience of dreaming. Thus far, I have been referring to various teachings about 24-hour lucid dreaming to illustrate the universality of interest in dreaming and its basic connection to spiritual traditions. Soon, in order to understand 24-hour lucid dreaming, you will have a chance to explore your own experience of dreaming. But first, let me say a bit more about how dreaming appears. Dreaming expresses itself in your awareness, in everything you notice. It expresses itself in your everyday experiences and in terms of your dreams, fantasies, and sentient, not yet verbalized experiences. When these dreaming experiences begin to manifest themselves, they appear as subtle or flickering nonverbal sensations, moods, and hunches, which cannot be easily translated into words, and which you rarely understand with your everyday mind. Next, dreaming appears in your awareness as signals, ideas, and perceptions that persist and no longer flicker. You probably label these signals, ideas, and perceptions as aches, pains, dreams, and thoughts. The main difference between these experiences and the earlier, subtler, flickering sensations is that these persisting perceptions can be formulated in terms of everyday language. Thus, dreaming shows up in at least two ways. If you are like most people, you probably focus most of your attention on your verbalizable experiences, such as observations, ideas, and dreams. To perceive more subtle, non-verbalizable experiences and feelings, you may need retraining or reminding. Reminding means reflecting on the mind you already have. In spite of dreaming's universal significance as the basis of consciousness, you probably skip it because the cognitive part of your mind cannot immediately grasp its significance. The Tao that cannot be spoken is indeed just that, nonverbal. You cannot know ahead of time exactly what the vague experiences of dreaming meant. Therefore, in the following experiment, you should ask your cognitive mind to be patient and relax so that your attention can have experiences before they can be comprehended. Feel free to explore, to do research, and to pay close attention to your experiences. I would like to suggest that you read and answer the following questions, sentence by sentence, exploring your inner experience for the next few minutes. Having a pencil and piece of paper at hand is useful. I hope you enjoy this self-exploration. Research inner work. Beginning with where you are now sitting or lying, scan your body and your feelings. Gently question yourself about your experience. What sensations are you feeling right now? Can you put them into words? This requires your ordinary conscious awareness. Now ask your cognitive mind to relax for a moment. Relax and take a breath. When you are ready, search your experience and check on other feelings you may have, feelings that have not yet been formulated. It might help you to be unknowing, clouded, and open. Sensing subtle feelings develops your pristine consciousness, that is, your lucidity. Be patient with your awareness of this unformulated region of your experience. Give yourself time to explore. Being as lucid as possible, notice nonverbal experiences. Imagine you are a researcher exploring an unknown region of life. Perhaps you notice relaxation, or jittery feelings, or excitement. Now go further. Notice and follow these subtle sensations as they change, unfold, or turn into images or other feelings. To do this, just focus patiently, gently, and exactly on those subtle experiences. Hold them and quietly notice how they evolve. Give them time. They will reflect on themselves, emerge, and explain themselves in terms of pictures, sounds, movement, stories, songs, and so forth. Make a note about the events that you are noticing. Now that these events are unfolded in terms of images or ideas, do you have a hunch about their possible meaning? Next, ask yourself about recent dreams. Do you recall a recent dream? If not, consider the last dream you can remember. Even if it was years ago, who was in it? What were you doing in that dream? Do you remember what the atmosphere felt like in that dream? Now, let us do a new kind of dream work. Recall the results of dreaming, that is, of lucidly exploring your subtle experiences. Are the experiences that came from your subtle sensations somehow formulated in your dreams? Guess where the subtle sensations might fit into your dream. Are they in the background of the dream? Or do they appear directly in the dream as one of the figures or events? In what way do your subtle sensations explain your dream? Being lucid about your dream-like tendencies and sensations may give you a hint about your life right now, about who you are, and how to orient your everyday life to your dreaming. Try to sense these hints about who you are and your direction in life. What do you need to do to live closer to these sensations? In this short exercise, you explored those tendencies that Lao Tzu called the Tao that has not been spoken. You may have noticed how your deepest, almost unformulatable experiences and tendencies give rise to understanding the images in your dreams. The point is that dreaming is the root of reality. Being lucid helps you understand dreams and may even be helpful with comprehending some of your body's sensations. In other words, by becoming lucid about the dreaming in the form of feelings and body sensations, you get a new view on dreams and perhaps on some of the mysterious experiences you have been having in everyday life. Take a moment and think about your everyday life. Think about what it means to be lucid about the dreaming, about subtle tendencies, and how these might reorient you. As you go further in this work, you will notice how increased lucidity enriches your sense of everyday life. As you learn to move backward and forward from the dreaming to reality, you will be able to sense how everyday life arises from dreaming and how dreaming is a magical symbol for a mystical reality. Disassociation from dreaming. Lucidity teaches you that the origin of your thoughts, observations, and dreams is happening right now in the background of everyday consensus reality. As you become more lucid during the day, you can predict what you're going to think, dream, and do before you go to sleep at night. Perhaps the only reason nighttime dreams sometimes seem so difficult to understand is that you usually do not pay attention to tendencies, vague sensations, hunches, feelings, aches, and pains. You notice the dreaming only when it gets to the point of unfolding, only when a body sensation already hurts. You probably pay attention to your ideas only when they are almost formulated. The more lucid you become, the more you will note your experiences before they reach the level where they can be clearly felt, thought about, and remembered. The psychological reason for ignoring the dreaming is that you learn to separate yourself from these elementary tendencies, sensations, pre-verbal feelings, and thoughts. Thus, today you tend to neglect and disassociate from whatever you cannot comprehend with your ordinary mind. In other words, dreams are difficult to understand, not because they are naturally mysterious, but because you have disassociated yourself from their source. From our developing perspective of lucidity, dreams are the products of dreaming, just as a tree is the result of a seed in the ground. After discovering that lucidity explains dreams, some people may wonder if nighttime dreams stop as you become more lucid during the day. Not at all. Your dreams will not stop. Rather, they seem to become clearer. In other words, dreams do not disappear as you become lucid. They become more comprehensible. A personal example. One night, while I was beginning this book, I dreamed I was traveling to a town called Livingstone. When I awoke next morning, I made an association to that place, to the name Livingstone. I associated a stone, a living stone, the stone of the alchemist. The stone was the goal of the essence of their work, the opus magnus, or great work. Its purpose was to gain immortality or become stone-like, that is, unchanging and free of time. As soon as I recalled these associations to the word living stone, I thought, aha, that's it. Livingstone is a part of me, the immortal part. It is a place I am traveling to. Now I understood my mysterious dream. It is about the path I am on, about this book. My dream is about immortality, the part of us that is free from time and social pressure. Associating to dreams is one of the most powerful and popular methods we have for understanding dreams. About 100 years ago, Freud and Jung showed us how to associate dream images, and this powerful method may go back even further in time. The question we might ask at this point is this: why do we need to associate to a dream to know what it means? Another way of asking this question is, how did you get separated from your dreams in the first place? Why did I need to associate to Livingstone to understand the dream? The answer to this question comes from experience. You disassociate yourself from the dreaming by marginalizing tendencies because they are too vague, too incomprehensible for your ordinary mind. If we did not disassociate ourselves from dreaming, we would not have to associate to our dreams to discover their meaning. This leads us to another question. In my dream of Livingstone, what exactly did I disassociate myself from? What was the dreaming behind my dream of Livingstone? What was the seed of that dream? The evening before the dream, I was feeling very relaxed, very stoned, a sensation that lingered into the next day. The vague sensation behind the dream is a feeling of timelessness and detachment. I ignored that feeling, and thus the dream reminded me of it, and of the dreaming experience behind the dream image called Livingstone. Until now, much psychotherapy and dream work has been about the process of reassociating yourself to feelings and actions that became split off from your everyday mind. Our new concept of 24-hour lucid dreaming moves the concept of therapy closer to spiritual practice. Instead of associating to dreams, we can learn how to contact dreaming before it gets disassociated, thus learning to understand dreams even before they occur. 24-hour lucid dreaming means becoming aware of every moment, noticing subtle feelings, the seeds of reality, before they unfold and become differentiated into the parts that appear in dreams and symptoms. Things to remember. According to the ancient Chinese sage, Chuang Tzu, the Tao was the primal force. He said, there must be some primal force, but we cannot discover any proof. I believe it acts, but I cannot see it. I can feel it, but it has no form. Dreaming first appears in everyday life as flickering nonverbal sensations, moods, and hunches. Later it appears as persisting signals, ideas, and perceptions, as verbalized dreams and visions that can be expressed in terms of everyday language. If you disassociate from the dreaming, you need to associate to dreams. End of chapter 2.